Welcome back in for another episode of Palmetto Playbook. I'm one of your co-hosts, Alan Marcus Hart, of the 5 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. producer here at WMBF News.
And I'm TJ Turner. I'm a digital content producer here at WMBF in Myrtle Beach. And it is Super Bowl week. So
Yep.
the Super Bowl's coming up. Obviously, big holiday for everybody, whether you're a football fan or not. I feel like the Super Bowl just kind of brings everyone together, whether you're in it for the halftime show, the commercials.
The parties around just watching the game.
Yeah, but the theatrics on the field and off the field are definitely going to be good at halftime going on. But getting into the actual game, the Patriots versus the Seahawks, which is a matchup we have seen in the Super Bowl before. The last time, it was definitely a game for the ages to watch in that Super Bowl. Definitely left a sour taste in the mouth for Seahawks fans. I can imagine.
Especially Marshawn Lynch.
They're definitely going to want to get their rematch in this one and try and pull out a win, which I personally think they're going to do. I think the Seahawks definitely have the better constructed roster and have the means to go in and win this game. So that would be my pick.
I mean, I think this game is for the takings for the Seahawks. I think they're the favorites going into this game. But I feel like at this point in the season, you really can't count out the Patriots. I feel like their entire playoff run has been each week, yeah, you're the underdog. We don't expect you to win, but somehow they found a way to do it. And they're still standing, so there's a testament to that. But I feel like Seattle is probably better on both sides of the ball than I think they have the better offense and the better defense. And when you have those two things, I think it's kind of hard to pick against them in this matchup. Yeah, I think the Seahawks are the favorites for the right reasons, and with that, I think they're going to win. But given our history on this podcast, I would not be shocked if we're here next week congratulating the Patriots after the.
Well, see, we go in and we look at the teams and which team stacks up better on paper, but as we've shown throughout the year, football's not played on paper.
Yeah.
And I also saw an interesting press conference before this game where they asked Mike Vrabel if this was a must-win game for the Patriots, which I thought was kind of a silly question.
I mean, why would it not be?
Nope, just happy to be here. Obviously, it's great to be in the Super Bowl, and it's probably the biggest sports venue you can have besides maybe a World Cup, which is coming up later this year.
I'm counting down, but we'll save those talks for later.
Yeah, but it's probably one of the greatest games in sports, so I think it's just an honor to be a part of the game. But I don't think any team's going into the game only being happy being a part of the game.
No, you want to go out there and win it.
Yeah, definitely going to be I think it should be a good game. If you look at how the team stacked up, you could argue that the Seahawks definitely could win by a few touchdowns, which I think is a possibility. Obviously, anything can happen. It's a football game. But I hope it's a good game. Just as a football fan, I don't really have a dog in this fight. I'm not a huge Seahawks fan. I'm not a huge Patriots fan. I definitely am more of a Seahawks fan because I don't like the Patriots winning all these Super Bowls all the time, which I know is ironic coming from the Alabama fan. But I definitely would be more inclined to want the Seahawks to win. But I honestly just hope for a good game.
Yeah, I mean, I feel if out of the two teams, I feel like the Seahawks is probably going to have much more of the fan vote on the fact they haven't won it as often as the Patriots and the level of hate that they get. So, yeah, I mean, I feel pretty much the entire country is pulling for Seattle except the Northeast up there.
Yeah, definitely gonna be a lot more Seahawks fans across the country, and I think it'll be good. I think it's the Super Bowl. Everybody's gonna be watching it. You're gonna have record-setting viewership, and I also think the halftime show is gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting for me because I don't know any of the songs,
Well,
and
I don't either, but I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to the halftime show. I think it's gonna be fun. Bad Bunny's performing. I can't say I know like the melody to one of the songs. I can't tell you. I'm not great at Spanish, so I don't know what he's saying.
It's dancing music. I mean,
Yes,
I have no
yes.
idea what the lyrics say, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a good time. I think I'm gonna have a good time.
I think it'll be good. I think it's going to be entertaining. There's going to be people that they understand it a lot more than we will, but I'm just going to be in it for the good music, for the dancing, for the vibes.
And, I mean, anytime we can get an international presence, you know, I've talked about it before on this podcast. You know, I'm my K-pop fandom. If you give me a Blackpink Super Bowl concert, I will be here for it. I cannot afford a ticket to the Super Bowl, but best believe I will be watching and supporting from home. singing my heart out. But yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a fun time. I don't necessarily need to know the lyrics to enjoy his music. I mean, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that as well. And we've got the Super Bowl end of the NFL season come, so we've got some awards. The finalists for all the awards have been announced, starting with the big one, MVP, where Drake May is a finalist. He'll be playing in the Super Bowl. He's probably one of the favorites. I think it's pretty much between him and Matt Stafford. You've also got Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, and Christian McCaffrey as finalists. But I think this award really just comes down to whether it's Drake May or Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, I'd lean towards Matthew Stafford. He's had a heck of a season. I know, like other names like Trevor Lawrence, he had a really great turnaround for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, I'm glad he's in that conversation. It's hard to pick against Matthew Stafford, the things he's done with one of the best offenses. I think it was the best offense statistically in the league, and especially at his age, just still being able to play at a high caliber. Yeah, I think he's deserving of the award.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see which way voters go on this because it's kind of the tale of two different quarterbacks. Whether you're going to go with Matt Stafford, who had all of the stats, he put up all the gaudy numbers. He was the best quarterback in the league on paper if you looked at touchdowns, interception ratio, if you looked at the passing yards on the season. But then you also have Drake May, who is the quarterback for the best team in the NFL throughout the season. So it'll be interesting to see how they choose to weigh the award. I personally think Matthew Stafford deserves it. He didn't even have that much less success during the season as Drake May. As you could see, he brought them into a conference final game. And I think Matthew Stafford deserves the award. But it'll be interesting to see kind of how they weigh it given the two different paths to the award each quarterback would have.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is just me because I don't have too much of a bias toward either player. I wouldn't be too upset if deciding which way they've gone, but I think Matthew Stafford is kind of like you said, have put up the better numbers this entire season. But yeah, I think he's the favorite, but it wouldn't totally shock me, I guess. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm not Nostradamus up here or anything like that, but yeah.
And then moving on to the Offensive Player of the Year award, the finalists, you've got Drake May and Christian McCaffrey show up once again, as well as Puka Nacua, Bijan Robinson, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. And there's a lot of representation in the Super Bowl from these awards. You've got Drake May in there twice, Offensive Player of the Year, as well as MVP, and then Jackson Smith-Njigba showing up, who I think deserves the award. My pick for Offensive Player of the Year would be Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think the numbers he's put up throughout the entire season, the regular season, he was putting up 100 yards games, it seems like every single week, double-digit catches, multiple touchdowns on several occasions. I think he deserves this award.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, I think the voting is done before the playoffs run, and I know Puka has done really well in the postseason to get to the Rams. I think he's still with the Rams, right?
Puka?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm mixing receivers. I was getting him mixed up with Cooper Kupp. That's what that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's kind of surprising. We were just talking about how we think Matthew Stafford's going to win the MVP, and he's not even in the running for Offensive Player of the Year. It's funny how that works out, but
his wide receiver one's in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess by that, yeah. But I honestly don't know who that award's going to go to.
Yeah, I think Matthew Stafford's kind of built a name for himself in turning receivers into Hall of Fame caliber talents. You had Cooper Kupp, who he gave him a triple crown and had probably the best receiver season in the history of the league. You could argue. Obviously, there's some seasons from a long time ago with Jerry Rice and certain receivers that might have an argument there. But Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown. He broke records during that season, and then he has Puka Nacua playing at an All-Pro level, who's one of the best receivers in the league. And you can't skip past Calvin Johnson, who was probably one of the best receivers in the history of football, and would have been awesome to see him play more and to see what he could do on a better team than the Lions. But Stafford does have this kind of pedigree to turn receivers, or just kind of not necessarily turn receivers because he's played with great wide receivers, but show their true potential and bring them to the highest level that they're capable of. And he's doing the same thing with Puka Nacua, having him in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, there's definitely some quality talent in that list. I don't know where the votes are going to lie in that category.
Yeah, it seems like the awards are kind of up in the air, but there's also some front runners, I think. Like we were talking about Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith and Jigba. We didn't even mention any of the other three who are definitely worthy of being in the conversation. I just don't think they necessarily have the same chance to win the award as those two.
Yeah, I mean, I know Bijan's had a really great season, but it's I mean, the Falcons have struggled. I mean, they didn't win a division where the the team that barely had a. I don't even know if I can't even remember if did the Panthers even have a winning record or.
I think they were the only
Like,
playoff
yeah.
team. I think the Falcons, the Buccaneers,
Well,
and
it
the
was a three-
Panthers
it was-
all were 8 and 9.
Yeah, it was a three-way tie, and the Falcons were mathematically eliminated from the playoff in like early December. So, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely an interesting season in that division, with the Panthers winning with a losing record and being tied with two other teams. And then moving on to the Defensive Player of the Year award, where we have Will Anderson, Nick Bonito, Myles Garrett, Aiden Hutchinson, and Micah Parsons. I think Aiden Hutchinson and Micah Parsons are kind of in similar situations here, where they just don't have the gaudy numbers that some of the other guys have, and they just weren't able to put together a full season due to injuries. So I think that almost it doesn't exclude them from winning the award. They still obviously have a chance, but I think the voters and everybody that's looking at it are going to take those missed games into account and kind of the lesser stats because of that. So I think those two don't really have as good of a chance as the other three of winning the award. And then Myles Garrett, Nick Bonito, and Will Anderson Jr. The Defensive Player of the Year award has kind of turned into the Best Edge Rusher award at this point. So I think any of them could win it. But my pick would be Myles Garrett. I think Will Anderson proved that he is one of the most valuable defensive players in the NFL because he led that Houston Texans gritty defense to how far they got into the season and to that good record that they had during the year. So I think you have to give a lot of credit to Will Anderson for being kind of the most valuable player on that defense, but that's not necessarily what this award means. So I think Myles Garrett was the best defensive player.
Yeah, I mean, all five of those players had a really great season, but it's kind of hard not to pick the guy that set a new NFL record this year, the new sack record. I can't remember what he finished with, but I think the previous record was 22.5 by Michael Strahan.
Did he get 23 or 24?
And I think he broke it on the last week of the regular season.
Yeah, it might have been 23 or 23 and a half.
But, yeah, I think it'd be kind of hard not to pick him as the Defensive Player of the Year when he's had that great of a season.
Yeah, quite possibly the greatest defensive season of all time, and you're not even going to be the best defensive player that year. It'd be kind of a hard argument to make. Yeah, Offensive Rookie of the Year, you've got Jackson Dart, Emeka Egbuka, Travion Henderson, Tetairoa McMillan, and Tyler Shuck all up there for this award. I think Jackson Dart had a great season, and then the same thing as I was talking about with Micah Parsons. He just didn't play the entire year, so it's hard to give a season-long award to somebody who didn't play for the entirety of the season. And I think Emeka Egbuka had great weeks throughout the year, and he definitely, I think through week like 10 or 11, I would have given him this award. But I think Tetairoa McMillan put together the best season overall, where he was able to play for the entirety of the year. And he just got better as the year went on. Early on in the season, it seemed like he was kind of scarce for touches, but then he just kept getting better and better each week. And I think he put up the numbers where he could potentially win this award.
Yeah, I agree with you on Tetairoa McMillan. I think he quickly became wide receiver number one for Bryce Young. And I think he was a reliable target throughout the entire season, leading the Panthers to that playoff berth for the first time in a while. I'd like to see him win that, but yeah, I mean, the other candidates have had really great seasons as well, and I can't take that away from them either.
Yeah, I think if Jackson Dart would have been able to play all 16 games for the Giants this year, this would be his award to lose. But I think him going down with that injury kind of puts a damper on things and kind of sets other people up to jump him and win this award.
Well, you could say that, yeah, that as well, and then you could also say the same thing for Tyler Shuck. Spencer Rattler was the starting quarterback for the Saints for the beginning of the season. I was hoping the Saints would stick with Rattler, but given how Shook played when he actually came in, he gave the Saints a different option that seemed to work well for them. They went on put some wins together, and Shuck looked really well in those games. So I mean, you could make the argument if he played the entire season as well, that award could all he would be much more of a favorite, but. I mean, just if you consider the entire season, I think you have to credit Tetairoa McMillan for just being reliable for the Panthers.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. And moving on from offensive to defensive rookie of the year, you've got Abdul Carter, James Pierce Jr., Carson Schlesinger, Xavier Watts, and then South Carolina's Nick Emenwari, who I think is going to win the award. He's kind of been the like namesake in that secondary, that kind of Legion of Boom 2.0 is being led by Nick Emenwari, who is a rookie, which I think is insane that he's able to kind of take on that top dog role in that Seahawks defense, who's been so good the entire season. And I think just being that kind of cog on that defense that has been able to do what they've done throughout the season, I think gives him this award.
Yeah, at some point I have to pick away. I have to have a different pick than you, but this will not be that time. I cannot pick against a Gamecock. With what Nick Emenwari has done with that defense, becoming basically the vocal leader, I think at least, the leader of that defense. Yeah, I see he's even getting high praise from Richard Sherman, the OG Legion of Boom leader. It's great to see that. I'm glad he's succeeding in the NFL.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see someone from South Carolina in that position, and just because they haven't had the top end teams in terms of their success throughout the last few years. They had a good season a couple years ago, and then they've had a few down seasons before that, and then this past season. So it's good to see that they're still sending guys to the league and sending guys to the league that are going to be productive.
I'm glad for Nick Emenwari and the Seahawks, and hopefully he can take home the Super Bowl along with the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. But it's a tough ask, I guess.
It'll definitely be a great first season coming to your first year, win Defensive Rookie of the Year and the MVP, and not the MVP of the award, the Super Bowl. It'd be interesting to see how well that defense plays, if he could potentially pull out a Super Bowl MVP as well.
Yeah, I mean, the last time the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl, the MVP award went to Malcolm Butler for that the infamous interception return for which I think. Never mind. I won't even get into that. I was about to say I think he's from South Carolina, not like from the University of South Carolina, but I think he was from the state of South Carolina. But I can Google that while we talk about.
And then the final award, we've got Coach of the Year, which is between Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, Kyle Shanahan, and Mike Vrabel. I think all of those coaches are very deserving of being in this conversation. The things Liam Cohen has done with that Jacksonville Jaguars team, bringing them from one of kind of the laughingstocks of the NFL. They were at the bottom of the barrel for many years, and bringing them to a place where they have an MVP candidate at quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, being able to bring out his true potential as he's had a few rough years to start his career and then bring out his true potential this year. Ben Johnson, the things he's done to turn that Bears franchise around from places they were at a few years ago, coming in and just making that immediate impact, bringing them winning a playoff game, which they haven't done in a very long time. And being able to do kind of the same thing Liam Cohen's done with Trevor Lawrence, being able to bring out the best in Caleb Williams and really show his true potential.
Yeah, I mean, all of these. I mean, I like Mike Vrabel, the quick turnaround with the Patriots, the fact that they were one of the worst teams in the NFL just a couple of years ago, and now he's led them to a Super Bowl appearance. I think that has to take credit. I will fact check myself real quick since I did Google it. I don't know where I got my information from. He was from Mississippi, so we'll skip past that. We don't have to talk too much about that. But at least I fact checked myself. I'd like to see Mike Vrabel win that award. Which I mean, I guess the voting did happen before the Super Bowl run started, so I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't win it.
Yeah, but bringing the Patriots from where they were just last year to being the 1 seed, not only on their side, but in the entire NFL.
I think they were the 2 seed because I think Denver was the 1 seed.
They tied the best record in the NFL. Yeah. Excuse me, not the 1 seed, but they were tied for the best record in the NFL this season, which I think if you're going to take them from one of the bottom teams to arguably the best team in the NFL, and they have the chance on Sunday to prove they're the best team in the NFL, I think that in and of itself brings that award to Mike Vrabel. I think the things he's been able to do, and I think it's a great story for the NFL because a few years ago when he was the coach of the Tennessee Titans, everybody was like, Mike Vrabel can't be a head coach. Like his coaching style and the way that he does things just doesn't work. And he's proven that it was more so a change of scenery that he needed rather than a change of philosophy, as he's doing the same things with the Patriots, and they've had all the success.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And then speaking of success, the Charlotte Hornets are
Yeah,
on
two
a
things
streak.
that don't normally go together that much. Success in the Charlotte Hornets.
I think this might be the first week where we've even thought about putting those two things together. The success and the Charlotte Hornets, as they had a rough blow there with LaMelo Ball running into a coach on the sidelines. He had a nasty gash on his head after that run in there. But that is not to take away from the run, the generational run that the Charlotte Hornets have been on. They are now on a 7-game winning streak, and they are 1 game out of the play-in currently. So we went from talking at the beginning of the season about how they maybe wanted to win a few games, and then they were a lottery team, and now
we kind of already wrote the season off, but
they're back.
Maybe we just like we've said throughout our entire run, right? So just maybe when we talk negative about teams, they like to prove us wrong. Not that I expect them to be watching this, but
in the great words of Geno Smith, we wrote them off and they didn't write back. But they're currently sitting 1 game outside of the play-in, fighting for that 10 seed and a potential spot at an opportunity to make it to the playoffs, coming down the home stretch on the season. And this run, and even a few games prior to this run, was kind of on the back of Brandon Miller's great stretch of games that he was on prior to this game yesterday that they had just won against the Pelicans that you're seeing here. He had gone 10 games straight scoring 20-plus points, which definitely was kind of the driving force of this run that the Charlotte Hornets have been on. Their offensive firepower has been on show from the entire team. Con Knippel's been great the entire year. LaMelo Ball is finally coming into form this season, and Brandon Miller is playing like an all-star this year, and I think it's great to see.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked all season about, the record might not be there, but they have a lot of young talent around them, and I guess they're finally actually playing as a team well, it's good. I mean, it takes time to mesh, but there is a lot of talent on that roster. It's good to see them actually playing as a team. I believe, if I remember correctly, this 7-game win streak is probably the longest win streak in quite some time. I can't remember exactly why, how long, mm-hmm. But and then I know just looking at their schedule coming up, they have the Rockets, which I think they'll probably be the underdog. The Hornets will be the underdogs in that. They also have the Pistons coming up, who have one of the best records in the league. But they do have 2 games against the Atlanta Hawks coming up, who are in that 10 spot right now, right just above the Hornets. So I mean, you have 2 games where if you can take care of business. Well, I mean, obviously, you got to take care of business for all the other games. You don't want to just focus on those 2. But it's good to see them. They're on the cusp of a possible playoff experience or appearance. But there's still a lot of games left to play.
Yeah, and there was a game last week on Thursday between the 2 Rookie of the Year candidates that was just insanity. You had 49 points out of Cooper Flagg, 34 points out of Con Knippel, but most importantly, Con Knippel came away with the win in that one. And I think it's going to be awesome to see these 2 guys duel it out for the rest of their careers. Cooper Flagg is obviously a generational talent. Con Knippel is showing that he is one of the best players to come out of this draft class, and he's trying to prove that he is the best player to come out of this draft class in that game. Obviously, Cooper Flagg edging him out on points with 49 there, which is just insane out of a rookie. I don't even know if a rookie's ever scored 50 before.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not going to risk making a second mistake on this week's episode.
Yeah, but I can't imagine it's happened before. But because 50 points as a rookie is just insane. I'm sure somebody's done it. Probably LeBron, since it seems like LeBron has every record the NBA has ever had. And speaking of records, I know this wasn't a record for rookies, but Stephen Curry has the 3-point record in the NBA, and Con Knippel has just passed him for the amount of 3-pointers Steph Curry had in his rookie season. I know it took Steph a few years in the NBA to get to the 3-point kind of barrage that he puts on day in and day out. But Con Knippel's starting it early, his rookie season. He's been a great 3-point shooter. He's been one of the best shooters in the NBA, and he's putting up great stats along with just shooting, putting up great shooting splits. Usually you have a rookie come into the league, and if they're going to put up that many threes, usually their percentage drops. They have a dip in percentage. But he has kept up. I want to say he's shooting close to 40%. I know it's over 30% on 3-pointers on the year, and he's made a lot of them, and it's just been great to see.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that point, though, I think the last 50-point rookie performance was Brandon Jennings, and he scored 55 in the 2009-2010 season. So it's been quite a while since. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess being on the cusp of that. But yeah, it's good to see both of them play. And I think we'll have, like you kind of mentioned, we'll have exciting games between the two throughout the rest of their careers, which I expect their careers to last a long time.
That's definitely going to be a matchup to watch for the next probably 10 to 12
Yeah.
years. Hopefully both of them can stay healthy and can continue to carry on what they've got going. And speaking of carrying on with success, we've got the Carolina Hurricanes, who are currently sitting as the third best team in the NHL. And they're going into the home stretch of the season here, definitely sitting as a title contender right now for that Stanley Cup. And they were projected to be there at the beginning of the season. They've proved why that projection was in place before the season, and they've definitely lived up to it.
Yeah, it's hard to stay at the top when everyone's coming right after you. I know, like we mentioned before, they're one of the favorites, and they're still living up to the hype, which is it's good to see from them. Hopefully, they can keep that going. But I know I guess the big things for the Hurricanes in recent years is they want to see that turn to success in the postseasons. They've put together some really good seasons in years past, but they still haven't gotten over that hump to the Stanley Cup, which I think the last time they won was like the early 2000s, like 2005, 2006, or something like that. But they've made runs deep into the postseason, but they just haven't gotten over that hurdle just yet. But it's looking like a really good shot this year with the success that they're having so far.
Yeah, I mean, they've been top 2, top 3 in the league the entire season, and I don't think they've dropped off at all. They've been one of the best scoring teams in the NHL. Their goalkeeper, Brandon Boosie's been one of the best goalies in the NHL throughout the entire season, and it's definitely a recipe for success. They've been doing great all season, and I don't think there's any reason why they can't carry this on into the postseason and make a deep run. And I think that this might be the year where they can finally do it. Just judging based off the regular season, the expectations they were given, and the way that they've been able to live up to those, I think this might be the year that they can finally do it. Or I guess finally do it again.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely be cheering. We'll definitely be cheering them on as their season progresses.
Yeah, and then moving on, continuing winter sports. With hockey, we've got the Olympics coming up, as the first events are going to start on Wednesday prior to the opening ceremony, which will be on Friday. And we'll definitely be keeping up and watching those. You guys can watch those on NBC for the entirety of the Olympics. And we'll be back here next week to talk about the Olympics and to recap the Super Bowl and let you guys know what happened in that game.
But yeah, until then, I mean, like you mentioned, you can watch the Olympics right here on NBC and the Super Bowl here on NBC at WNBF. But until then, we'll see you next week.